Ladies and gentlemen, every love story begins with a moment, a small, fragile second when two souls collide, and everything changes. For Ayan and Hira, that moment arrived on a rainy morning in a small, peaceful town where the scent of wet soil danced with the sound of laughter from a nearby school. Ayan was late. His school bag bounced on his back as raindrops splashed against his face. He had forgotten his umbrella again, something he always did when lost in his thoughts. The streets were half empty, and his shoes made small puddles with every hurried step. Then came a soft voice, like the whisper of the rain itself. "Hey, you'll catch a cold like that." He turned. There she was, Hira, holding a pale pink umbrella, her uniform neatly pressed, her eyes filled with that warm light that made you feel like you were home. "Come on," she said, extending the umbrella. He hesitated, then stepped closer. The umbrella wasn't big enough for two, so they had to walk close enough that their shoulders touched. The world outside the umbrella was gray and stormy, but under it, there was warmth, laughter, and something unspoken. When they reached the school gate, Ayan smiled awkwardly. "Thanks," he said. "Maybe next time, you can bring your own," Hira teased, walking away with a grin. But that moment, that single, shared umbrella, became the beginning of everything. In class, they started to notice each other. Ayan, once the quiet boy who sat by the window, began waiting for Hira's smile each morning. Hira, always the shy and graceful girl, found herself looking for excuses to talk to him, to borrow a pen, to ask about homework, or simply to sit beside him during lunch. Underneath the mango tree behind their school, where golden leaves fell like blessings, their friendship grew into something deeper. They shared secrets, dreams, and fears. And though they never said the word love, everyone could see it in the way they looked at each other. One afternoon, as they watched the sunset paint the sky, Ayan whispered, "Do you ever wonder why some people just feel like home?" Hira looked at him, smiling softly. "Maybe because they are meant to be your home." Time moved forward like a river, gentle yet unstoppable. Ayan and Hira's friendship blossomed into love, pure and bright. They were the kind of couple people whispered about, smiled at, and envied just a little. The town wasn't big, and everyone knew everyone else. Whenever they walked together, old shopkeepers would smile and say, "Look, that's young love, innocent and true." Their days were simple but magical. They spent mornings studying in the library, afternoons walking by the lake, and evenings talking under that same old mango tree. Ayan would play the guitar while Hira sang softly beside him, her voice carrying like a gentle breeze through the town. He would say, "Hira, when I look at you, I see my future, not in big cities or rich houses, but in laughter, in peace, in the small things." And she would reply, "Ayan, I don't need the world, I just need you to keep looking at me like that." Their love was the kind that didn't need promises. It lived in actions, in shared books, folded notes, and long walks where words were replaced by glances. But as they say, love always faces a test, a storm that tries to see if it's strong enough to last. Ayan received a letter. He had been accepted to a top university in the city. It was everything he had dreamed of, a chance to build his future, to make something of himself. When he told Hira, she smiled, but her eyes trembled. "That's amazing, Ayan, you deserve it." He took her hand. "But that means leaving you behind." She shook her head softly. "No, it just means our hearts will learn to love from far away." They stood in silence under the mango tree, knowing that goodbye was near, but love would stay. Before he left, she gave him a small silver locket with their photo inside. "Whenever you feel lost," she said, "just open it. I'll be there." And so, with heavy hearts and teary eyes, they parted, one chasing dreams, the other holding on to hope. The city was loud, bright, and fast, everything Ayan's small town wasn't. But no matter how crowded the streets were, he felt alone. Every night, he sat by his dorm window, staring at the stars. He wrote letters to Hira, long, heartfelt ones about how he missed her laughter, her scolding when he forgot to eat, her voice calling his name. And Hira wrote back. Her letters were filled with warmth, stories about home, the mango tree, and the scent of jasmine that reminded her of him. Their love became words, ink and paper carrying the weight of two hearts that refused to give up. Months turned into years. Ayan worked hard, became one of the top students, and started building a career. He sent gifts, saved money, and promised that soon, he'd return and make Hira his wife. But life had other plans. One day, Ayan received a letter, but it wasn't from Hira. It was from her neighbor. The letter said Hira's mother had fallen ill, very ill. The treatments were expensive, and Hira had stopped writing for weeks, working day and night to pay for her mother's medicines. Ayan's world shattered. He wanted to go back, but his exams, his job, his responsibilities, everything held him back. He sent money, begged her to rest, but her replies became shorter, weaker, fewer. Until one day, the letters stopped coming altogether. After 2 long years, Ayan finally returned to his town. His heart was pounding with hope. Maybe she was waiting for him under the mango tree, maybe she still wore that shy smile, maybe they could start over. He rushed through the familiar streets, his hands clutching a bouquet of white lilies, her favorite. But as he reached the mango tree, he stopped. There was a small crowd gathered, and at the center of it stood a new gravestone, surrounded by fresh flowers and a single pink umbrella leaning against it. His knees went weak, the world blurred. He read her name, Hira Ahmed, a soul too kind for this world, forever loved. Tears streamed down his face as he fell to his knees. The old shopkeeper who had once smiled at them put a hand on his shoulder. She waited for you every day, Beta. Even when she was sick, she sat here, under this tree, writing letters she never had the strength to send. Ayan opened his trembling hands, and there it was, the last letter she had written but never mailed. It read, "Greater than, my Ayan. I don't want you to cry for me. I want you to live, to love, to carry our memories wherever you go. You once said I was your home, but Ayan, you were my whole world. If one day you stand under this tree and I'm not there, just close your eyes. You'll find me in the rain, in the wind, in the sound of your heartbeat. Always yours, Hira." He clutched the letter to his chest and wept, not because love had died, but because it was too beautiful to end. From that day onward, Ayan visited the mango tree every evening. He brought her white lilies, sang softly, and talked to her as if she were sitting beside him. The town watched and whispered, their love, it never left. Years passed. Ayan never married. He built a school in her name, the Hira Foundation, where children learned under the shade of the same mango tree where 2 souls had once found love.